Hello and welcome back to the channel. We've got a lot of stuff to get done on the farm today. It is actually green here in February. It's been warm for a few days, but it is going to pour down rain tomorrow and drop back down into the 20s and 30s at night. So we've got some things to do today, dragging the fields, putting some feed out. So let's get to it. First things first, we got a delivery yesterday of supplies. So we need to move these minerals out of the way so we can put them out later. And then we have a pasture block of alfalfa compressed that we're going to put out for the donkeys. So this is compressed alfalfa hay. This is a 500-pound pasture block. And what we do is we just put this, I leave it on the pallet, that way it stays off the ground. But we just put this out in the field for any equine we have. And it's got metal wire on it instead of string. And it is compressed extremely tight together. And they have to really work hard to get this to come off. So it keeps them entertained all day. It's also a nice high protein and high fat feed. As long as we have that out in the field, we don't actually give our equine any grain or anything. That is plenty enough to keep them satisfied and meet their nutritional needs while they're here. And this is who we're feeding, all these little mini donkeys. They're actually all sold and they're going to be going to their home next week. But until then, why not give them the goods? Anytime that we have equine, so donkeys, horses, zebras, any of those guys, we keep them in a sand lot, and then, like I said, we give them this good feed to have, and then we're controlling everything they're eating, and they're not tearing up the rest of the land. And this is because we only have 25 acres, and so we have to use the land the best we can. And cattle, they just graze the grass. They pull the tops off and go on, so the grass always stays. But equine, they have teeth on top and bottom, and they pull the entire plant up, the root and all. So then you end up with a sandy patch anyway. So we just go ahead and we jump ahead and put them in this pen. Next task is dragging our pastures. Why do we drag our pastures? Because we have this many cows and not enough land. So what we do, we've never fertilized here. You can see our pastures out there are good and green. Those are rotational pastures we're working on. But this is the main acreage that the cattle stay on. And this many cows poop a lot. So what we do is we use the ATV with this drag, and we literally just drive. And it breaks up all the manure and puts that nutrients back in the ground. But the pasture looks bad with that much manure in it. To me, I don't like seeing that. I like to see a nice, smooth field. So I drag the field usually 2 times a week just to keep all that put in. But since it's supposed to rain tomorrow, this is the best time to drag the field. That way when we break up the manure and we break open the ground, then the rain can push all that nutrients back in and really smooth everything out. This is the drag I was talking about. I think you can get them at most farm stores. I think we got this one at Tractor Supply a few years ago. But it's just a lot of metal pieces with a chain. And as you can see, it does a good job of getting all this stuff. But every couple times that I drag, I have to take it over here into a different area and pull all this stuff off so that I don't put it back in the field. We have 2 of these Kubotas, and this one has a cab with air conditioning and heat. And you may think that sounds wimpy, and that's okay. But I have horrible allergies, and when you're dragging these fields, the dust just flies. But this cab keeps me from having such terrible allergies. Here's just a good example of what dragging does. Obviously manure, and it's not getting it back into the ground, so it's not doing any good. Over here, this is what we've already drug. And so we've broken up the manure, and then the little pieces of metal flip everything into the ground so that the nutrients is reabsorbed back into the ground. And on the other video, we were discussing how we unroll our hay, and you can see over here in this other field where we've unrolled hay at. Then that hay is then pushed down into the ground, the manure on top of it, the grass seed is underneath that. And so then this, is, when spring comes, will all be grass. And you can see how grass is already starting to peek through in this area. Our dragging task for the day is done. The fields look great. That will last about 5 hours, and then it'll be completely covered with manure again. Oh, how I love to see all that green for spring. They'll be completely covered with manure again. The cows now are ready for their silage, so we will close this gate where they can't get in, and we'll go ahead and get them some silage. I guess that's another thing worth mentioning, is that because we have so many cows per acre, our cows don't actually graze the grass. They nibble a little bit here and there, but we're not depending on the grass to feed the cattle. We would never have enough grass because of the acreage to cow. So all of our cows get total input. We input all the feed. So we do silage, we do hay, and then the grass, I'm just trying to keep it growing so they can nibble on a little bit, and so that it looks pretty and keeps the dust down. But as you can see, they are ready for their food. They're tired of waiting. They've been seeing the four-wheeler drive around and around and around, and they want their food. This is one of our naturally polled gyr. It's pretty rare. Naturally polled means she doesn't have horns, and she naturally doesn't have horns. Most gyr cattle are like this. They have that big dome on their head with horns. So that's a pretty rare thing to see right there. What's the matter, Rosita? She wants her food. I know. We're getting it. Impatient ladies. And one gentleman back there. Hey, Flower. Hey, girl. Good girl. Oh, good girl. Hi, Flower. Hey, guys. We're going to get food. Cows have feeders that we can put the silage in, but the bullpen still doesn't have one. We have to build one or buy one. That just hasn't been feasible. So theirs just gets put over the fence onto the ground, which they eat grass off the ground anyway, so it's not that big of a deal, but it does create quite a bit of waste. Like I said, the bulls have to eat it off of the ground, but the pile is big enough that they're okay. So these are all the bulls that we did for the video when we were deworming them. And I'm seeing quite a bit of body improvement. These guys look great, of course. But this over here, well, let's see if we can see him a little better. This is the guy that we were concerned with his weight. And while he still needs to gain more, I think he's come quite a long way. I don't see as much rib. He still needs to fill out on his backside, but he's making a lot of improvements, I think. There's the escape artist from the other video. Calm as can be out here. These two are probably my favorite in our bull field right now, though. Calm, gentle, cool colors, nice humps. I like both of those guys. These boys love their silage, though. They wait for it every day. So good for their gut, so good for everything. Poor girls, I've made them wait all day long while I've been dragging the field and stuff, and now they're starving. So let's let them in. You guys ready for some food? Everybody's lined up to come in. Come on in. Woo! Come on. Come on, girls. Come on. There we go. Come on, girls. Woo! That's it. There's always a couple, there's always 2 or 3 that don't want to come in while I'm sitting here. There they are out there, but if they're hungry enough, they'll come in here. 1 or 2 of them protest, but once they're in and they're happy. Everybody's got enough space to eat. They love their silage too. Mama's always looking for their babies. There's 4 of the babies. Another one there. Another one there. This cow is 16 years old and she's due, I think, in 2 months or less. Still breeding, still taking care of babies, even at that age. I think this cow is probably less than a month away from having a calf. All of the cows at this dinner table, except for her, she already had a calf. All of these ones are probably 2 to 3 months away from having a calf. She's probably less than a month from having a calf. Less than a month away from having a calf. 2 to 3 months from having a calf. We're gonna have so many calves. So if you're ever looking for gear, real gear, registered gear, boy, we're gonna have the calves for you. This is that really thin cow from a few videos ago that's like 17. She's gaining weight and doing well. I love just watching all of these calves. They're all such different personalities and they learn different things and act different ways. Love watching them. This is the little girl from the first video that had the funny face. We got 1 Brayford cross out here, 1 Sardo cross, and the rest of these are all pure Gyr calves. It did indeed rain the next day and washed all the manure in, and the grass looks great. For myself, Logan, and everything here at Hisway Farm, may God bless you, and we'll see you next time.